Yes, oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
It'd be like this.
oh, I see.
Call the meeting to order, and please stand with me while we have prayer led by John Decker, and then stay standing for the pledge of this flag.
Almighty God and precious Father, we gather here tonight most humbly, but heartfelt and sincere in our thanks for the great benefits that you showered upon us. Among those is the creation of this great and special nation and all the governments that lie underneath it. Help us, dear Father, to not sacrifice this gift, to treasure it, to honor it in your name. I ask you tonight, dear Father, to bless us as we conduct your business in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Bibb?
Here.
Alderman Decker?
Here.
Alderman Hudson?
Here.
Alderman Corbett? Here. Alderman Payne?
Here. Need a motion for adopt the agenda.
I move we adopt the agenda.
And a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Need a motion for the approval of the minutes of the October 20th Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, need a second? Second. Okay. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, welcome our visitors tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being interested in our city. Public hearings, we have one, and no one signed up for it, but it's ordinance 2214, an ordinance to amend the municipal code, Title II, Chapter 2, Library Board, Section 2-210, schedule fines and services and damages. And we will open that meeting. If no one signed up for it, we'll close it. Communications from Mayor and Alderman, City Attorney, and City Administrator. I'd like to start out tonight. Jerry just told me something here that I've been waiting to hear for years. We've had a compliance check that come back with nobody failing. In the years I've been here on the beer board, we've always got, we check everybody in the city at the same time when we do this, by the way, so that's quite a few different people. But we've had one or maybe two that's failed it, and everybody else is compliant with it. This time we actually had 100% in compliance with it. And I think that's a great step for our city because it tells us something. We're protecting our youth. Okay, that's all. John?
I'm good.
John Corbett?
I'm good.
Cliff?
I'd like to congratulate John on his mayoral win, and the other aldermen out here in the group on the coming on board here in the first year.
Okay.
Congratulations, Corbett and Sam back there. I can't see you smiling. All right, there you go.
Sam reminds you of that neighbor you always see across the fence.
Okay, City Attorney?
I don't have anything.
Okay, Jerry?
Yes, sir, I do have a few things. I have a couple of slides to show you. CSR Engineering has finished up with the design of that Heritage High School Extension Road to Pinston Lane. We sent the plans to Robertson County School for review. We have one conflict with the electrical utility right at the corner of Pinston Lane there. So we're going to get that remediated. and we're hoping to get this project out to bid sometime in March is our plan. Good news on the US 31 Sage Road, McCurdy intersection, we'll go to that next. Rogers Group has given us a bid to complete the project. As all of you know, our contractor went bankrupt and the project is pretty much sitting idle since March. The insurance carrier holding the bond will be paying us the difference in cost between our original bid and Rogers Group price, so I'm happy about that. And we have given Rogers Group 60 days to complete the project with rain dates if they need it. So hoping by the end of the year or early in January we can get this done. As you can see, the construction of the new tennis courts are nearing completion. We'll show that. The courts should be ready to be played very soon. Parking lots and sidewalk connection will be built out over the next couple of months. Kind of an odd design, but with the sidewalks going around there, the engineer was saying he didn't purposely design it that way, but when you see the crosswalk and then the sidewalk extension, it looks like a tennis racket. So, kind of interesting that they designed that way, but it's come along really looks nice. They got the shades up and stuff. So that picture was just taken today, so it's up to date. Yesterday at the Transportation Policy Board meeting, a TDOT Long Range Planner showed us a new website that will track road projects. There are two lists of projects. The projects you can see outlined in red are what they consider the proposed projects, and the projects outlined in blue is current projects. To be on the current project list means that funds have been committed to these projects and they expect some type of action in the next 3 years. Our State Route 76 widening project is still on TDOT's radar. Each year proposed projects will be reviewed to see which ones can move up the committed list. This shows you our 76 project there. And right now they're currently estimating the project to cost just over $20 million. So that'll be a big project for the city when it comes around to getting to that. Today, Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund Representative Kevin Krasinski, which all of you know, visited with us. The number highlighted the amount of savings we had in interest cost on our community center, recreation center loans. It's a pretty good chunk of money there that we've saved in interest. Our finance director is very good at drawing down funds from the loan as we need them. Thus his attention to detail is saving us many dollars in interest costs. I'm really proud of Jason and the way he's been managing with the draws down from the bank so that we're not caught up in interest. If we would have gone our conventional way of going out to the bond market, we would have been we would have got the money all up front and then we would have been paying interest right from the get-go. So that's about how much interest we saved right there. So that's all I have there.
Thank you, Jerry.
That's a good report, Jerry.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any votes to acknowledge your reports?
I move we acknowledge the report.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Consideration of the following resolution. Resolution 2214 is a resolution to annex certain territories and incorporate same within the corporate boundaries of the city of White House, Tennessee. Need a motion?
I make a motion that we approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, talk to us.
Okay, so this is part of the Union Springs business park. Part of the property is a total of 64 acres. The applicant only wants to bring in 54 acres, leaving 10 acres at the southern part of it. So again, it's part of that light industrial park.
Okay. Any questions?
The 10 acres that they're carving out, it's zoned agricultural now?
Yeah.
Are there any plans for that to change in the future?
No, she just wants to leave it in for the family.
Is that the bottom half, like where the creek goes through?
Yeah, and it can't be developed anyway. I mean, they'd have to stay off the stream, so it's not really developable down that way. So.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Resolution 2216 is a resolution to annex certain territories and incorporate the same within the corporate boundaries of the city of White House.
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
This is the school board requesting this annexation. The existing school is in the city, so they just want to be uniform and bring this in.
Right.
If you don't mind, Mayor, I just want to make a comment so the public understands. We do annexations by resolution. It's something that the state legislators put on us several years back. Well, not that many years ago, but a few years back they wanted us to do it by resolution. The ordinance showing the fact that it's a temporary thing, not a permanent thing like an ordinance generally is. So we still have to follow the same format though as an ordinance. In both of these resolutions, we'll have to have a second reading at your December meeting.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Ordinance 2214 is an ordinance to amend the municipal code, Title II, Chapter 2, Library Board, Section 2-210, Schedule of Fines, Services, and Damages. This is the second reading. We'll ask for a motion.
Move we approve.
Second.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I think my assistant kind of went over this last month. Any other questions you guys had about it? Like I said, it's just adding a disconnect fee, if somebody doesn't turn the hotspot at any time, so.
Are these enough fees?
Well, they accumulate late fees too, so they can get up to $30 in late fees and then the $10 disconnect fee, so it would be like $40 total.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Second.
Alderman Corbett.
Aye.
Alderman Decker.
Aye.
Alderman Hudson.
Aye.
Alderman Payne.
Aye.
Mayor Vick.
Aye. Ordinance, 2215 is an ordinance to amend the municipal code, Title 11, Chapter 4, Offenses Against Peace and Quiet, Sections 11-402, and this is the first reading for this one. Need a motion?
I move we approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion.
This was kind of overlooked when we updated this a while back. The building operation hours from 7 a.m. to 9 was at 6 p.m. and when we made that change, we did not include the two recommendation changes that we missed in that paragraph. So we're bringing it back to your attention. So.
Okay. Any other discussion?
So we're actually extending it.
No, it was meant to be 9 p.m., but further down in the sentencing, you can see, there was some, it brought up again, the building inspector should determine that the public health safety will not be impaired by the erection, demolition, alteration, repair of building or the excavation of streets. The hours would be 9 p.m. To 7 a.m. So that makes it in compliance with what we had earlier where we go from 7 to 9.
Right.
So that was the purpose of that. So,
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next is ordinance 2216, an ordinance to amend the municipal code, Title 13, Property Maintenance Regulations, Chapter 1 and 3, as well as establishing Chapter 4 enforcement. First reading. Need a motion?
I move we approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay.
the reason this came up is we have a new property maintenance person working in the planning office now, Jenna, and we were running into some issues with the languages in some of these areas of this ordinance, and so I felt like we needed to clean it up. It was time. It's been a long time since we reviewed this ordinance. Clean it up and put an enforcement section in there that outlines exactly how she is to do her duties as far as notifying property owners, what is needed in that regard, and then making sure that we had given them enough time to make corrections. If they don't make the corrections, then you go to a citation. If you fail to appear for a citation, then we would go ahead and take care of the issue whether we have to cut the grass or have something removed off the property. And then we would also then go into a situation where we would put it on the tax rolls, any cost that the city would have to bear on trying to clean up or remediate the issue that they're having. So we give them plenty of time, and the earlier section talked about 10 days, notice had to be given, but if the person had a certain type of occupation, it had to be 20 days, and we would never know what type of occupation they had, and we certainly don't have the time to research, what type of, the person lives in that house and what type of job they have, to determine whether or not it's 20 days. So the way we set it up is, by the time they get their notice, in the mail, by the time they would get, cited into court, it'd take several weeks, so we knew we would, pretty much everybody would go beyond the 20 days before there was anything that the city would do to try to remedy the situation. So I think we think it's pretty solid. She's starting to kind of work with this already, and it seems to be something that she feels pretty pleased with. So, Cedar, do you have anything more to add to that? Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we, get into the, issue of, once we had gotten that 10 days out of the way, we were automatically sending somebody out to mow or to remedy whatever is taking place without giving that property owner, something, a chance to rectify before we spent money, that we budgeted for, even though we're getting it back through tax roll. We figured on the front end, allow them to, mediate before we spend money. That was the thinking on this.
And again, there was one section with, I think it was vehicles on the property that, improperly being displayed or whatever, without license plates or that.
Yeah.
They were supposed to have a hearing with the city administrator, which I've never had any hearings with any place, so we really needed to clean it up. So I think this is really the best remedy we have now. We have a pretty good, strong basis to do the actions that we need to take in the future.
The abandoned vehicles, I know we left, they came to this board and asked for an exemption one time, and we gave it to them to let her put her dad's truck out there, and they decorate every year, and I understand there's another neighborhood that had the same problem, and
Yeah, we just didn't have any teeth in the ordinance that said, that accommodated for decorative art, or anything like that. And so even the judge tried to work with the applicant or the citizen, but, I mean, he had to follow the letter of the law based on what was in our ordinance. And so I called several cities, and the only place out west, I think in Oregon, that actually had something like that. Even Hendersonville, they had an issue like that, and their property maintenance is in the police department, and the guys they had a similar situation, and they said that it's by definition abandoned vehicle, even though we know it as their intent to be art. So that was the reason we did, had to follow that. We didn't have anything in place that was similar to one on Tyree, so we, even the judge, he recognized that also. He brought it up when they came to court.
I think most HOAs have that built in already. These are mainly covering the areas that don't have HOAs. Because, not any HOA that's gonna allow you to take a, pickup truck and put it in the front yard, or put a statue out there of something you like and leave it out there for days on end. Even, your Christmas decorations, your Halloween decorations, usually those have to come down in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, like I say, it was like out west was the only place I could find, and it was actually, I talked to a company that does it, and they were shocked that we didn't have it, or anybody doing that here.
And with the party here about soot and burning, is that taken care of?
I think that's in the next.
That's gonna be in the next one, burning.
Okay.
Any other discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Ordinance 2217 is an ordinance to amend the municipal code, Title 4, Chapter 6, Code of Ethics, first reading. Talk about that.
Perhaps you need a motion second.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I need a motion to approve.
We'll make a motion, we open discussion.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay.
Valerie's gonna take this one.
So this just revises the Code of Ethics. I think we talked about this when we were in the midst of our last ethics investigation, that the first part of it is just cleaning up definitions, and then the second part is where it makes the city attorney the ethics officer for the city, and so all ethics complaints will come to the attorney. And rather than having the Board of Mayor and Aldermen vote on any ethics complaints that are with respect to anybody on the board, then the ethics officer, who's the city attorney, will just make a determination at that time whether an investigation is warranted, and will either investigate or go to get a third-party investigator to do that. And it also requires that, complaints that are made be signed and notarized. so that, you know, they are, they're sworn truthful statements.
Questions?
And this, oh, by the way, this is also MTS's model ordinance, so we've changed it to mirror what MTS suggests.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We need a motion.
Oh, that's right, sorry. Need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Need a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Ordinance 2218 is an ordinance to amend the municipal code, Title 7, Chapter 5, open burning regulations. Section 7-502, first reading. Yes, sir. Oh, excuse me. Need a motion?
Motion approved.
Need a second?
Second.
Now.
What this is, basically, we're eliminating the commercial burn permits in the city. Reason is, everything's got so dense. What area is left, that trees could be burned, is, actually doesn't even meet state regulations now. State regulations require 2,500 foot away from a occupied structure, 500 foot away from a road. And the areas we have in town left to build on, it just doesn't meet that. And, we've already we tried it with like an incinerator for a couple of places and still had complaints. Over the last couple of years, we just had a lot of complaints with smoke and ash and soot and stuff coming down. So, we was approached if we could just eliminate commercial burn permits. And what they do is, Sage Road and behind Kroger, at both end developments, they're grinding up, the trees and turning them into mulch and selling. So that's,
Across the street from the high school too, they ground all that.
yeah.
And if one or two contractors can afford to do it, I'm sure all the contractors can afford to do it, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to gather some more information on that, because I had 2 calls today on it. So I'm trying to gather some information, find out where they can get it and how they go about getting the grinders. So hopefully I have that information for them if we have a contractor call.
Any other questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Ordinance 2219 is an ordinance to amend the municipal, the fiscal budget for the period ending June 30th, 2023. First reading. Need a motion?
I move we approve.
Second.
Second. Okay. Discussion.
Jason Barnes, our finance director, was out ill today, so he wasn't able to make it, but this is something I asked him to do for us. The tennis court project has been moving along a little bit quicker than our cash flow coming in from park sales tax, and so we thought we would, to be able to help us out here, we have the parks impact fee. We have over $400,000 in that account, so since we can use park impact fee to do any additional improvements in the park, which we went from 3 tennis courts to 6, that's a pretty big improvement. We can justify using park impact fee money to help us, and since there's cash there, we can go ahead and get this project finished out here and be able to pay the bills when they come in. So that's what this is for.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Ordinance 2220, an ordinance amended, Article 5, Section 5.0532 and C2, General Commercial B, Automotive Sales for a permitted use to a permitted as special exception. First reading. Yes, sir. Oh, excuse me. Need a motion?
Move we approve.
Need a second?
Second.
And now.
If you remember, a couple months back, we approved, I think it was the, automotive major repair, minor repair, be moved under special exception. This was, still left hanging out, so I'm just moving this one in because we could get maybe a new car lot or used car lot that may have, some type of repair, paint, body, whatever, but just to get this in the special exception and be approved by BZA before, having another set of eyes on it before it moves forward. So just being, consistent with how we have our work.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Ordinance 2221, an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Robinson County R20 to low-density residential to I-1 light industrial on Union Road, first reading.
Move we approve.
Need a second?
Second?
Okay.
This property, again, is a part of that, we call it, I guess, Union Springs Light Industrial Development, area, because we have the options on the property. Robertson County has the options on the property. This is just part of that due diligence to get everything to be lined up with what's required.
Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. Ordinance 2222 is an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Robinson County R20 low density residential to I-1 light industrial on Union Road. Need a motion.
Move we approve.
Need a second.
Second.
Okay.
Same thing as I said on the previous one.
Let me see, I know we're rezoning these, at some point, are we gonna have a chance to look at traffic?
When the site plan is submitted, whenever they submit a site plan, we'll look at that, when site plan is submitted,
There's
meet
some
those
different
requirements.
concerns about.
Yeah,
traffic
Union Road
around
and
Union
those
Road.
kind of things, so.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the planning commission, we have this 200-acre site we're trying to get traffic into. Right now, there's no access. Union Road, they could come in off of Union Road, that's really the only road that abuts it right now. Sage Road, we were looking at extending it into the property. And then there's Hester Drive comes around, which we have a state industrial access grant that helps bring it around to take care of, one of the business, Advent Expect behind the Lowe's Millworks, that's no longer Lowe's, but Millworks company there. So we have 3 different access points, at least we're trying to look at coming in. So we don't want to have all the traffic coming and going from one main road all the time. I think splitting it up makes it better for us. As you know, in our industrial park, we only have one way in and one way out right now. And it is challenging for even our own staff to get in and out of one place. So we wanted to divide it up. As I mentioned to you before, we do have a lot of interest in this property. We're probably going to be I know the one property right behind the Lowe's, behind the Millworks company is already under contract. We've entertained a group that came out here from South Korea, looked at part of the property, and I've been advised that we're like on their real short list, but they're probably looking at maybe coming here. So we're real close to possibly landing some high-end jobs that have pretty good pay coming with it. So I think it's really important that we consider traffic and we look at the traffic studies as each one comes in and see what improvements are going to be needed as we go along.
Yeah, but to be clear though, the site plan approval is done at the planning commission level. It is highly scrutinized, at the staff level and at the planning commission level.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, so moved. Ordinance, is that 23 or 24? Okay. Ordinance 2224 is an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Robinson County R20 low density residential to I-1 light industrial on Wilson Road, first reading. Need a motion.
Move we approve.
I think it's.
Yeah, I think we're on 23.
23.
22, 23 is what we're on.
Huh?
We're on
Supposed to be on
ordinance
23.
22, 23.
23's next.
Yeah, we gotta have ourselves.
We're on the same.
Oh, 23?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Ordinance 2223 is an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Robinson County R20 low-density residential to I-1 light industrial on at Milton Road and Union Road, first reading.
I move we approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Now, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstention.
Okay. Ordinance 2224, an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Robeson County R20 low-density residential to I-1 light industrial on Milton Road, first reading. Need a motion?
I move we approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Same.
Same. Okay. Any questions on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Same.
Okay. Ordinance 2225 is an ordinance amending Article 5, Section 5.053.2, C2, General Commercial, to add an industrial overlay district to include certain boundaries within I-1 light industrial, first reading. I hope you can explain that. I need a motion.
I move we approve.
Need a second.
Second.
So this is the kind of real stuff that planners, the fun stuff that planners get to do. This adds a level of protection to, because this is where it's sitting at. If you ride through some smaller towns that have, light industrial, it may not have any character to it, you know, if you pass through and it's, you know, metal buildings. This just adds, you know, industrial-based zoning. They're not required to, adhere to design standards. But this, particular boundary, this would bound properties outside of, you know, off of, you know, industrial. They wouldn't have to, you know, adhere to this, you know, they're kind of tucked away back there. But this boundary, puts some teeth in it for us to be able to add some character.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Ordinance 2226, an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Sumner County agricultural to R20 low-density residential on Highway 31W and New Halls Road, first reading. Need a motion?
Move we approve.
Need a second.
Second.
Questions?
This is a school board, their existing school zone, so this is just more for uniformity purposes.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved. Ordinance 2227, an ordinance to amend the zoning map from Robeson County C2 General Commercial to I-1 Light Industrial at Love's Lane and Union Road. Need a motion?
Motion we approve.
Need a second.
So this is,
Second. Okay, now you go.
so this is behind Love's Lane, it's adjacent to, similar zone properties. This was zoned I-1, it's known affectionately as the Bean property now, I'm starting to call it the Harper property. He's breaking 21 acres off, and the remainder will still be C2. Everything, it's within our comprehensive plan, the scope of the comp plan with the light industrial. We met with the guys with the company with the intent of going, and even though this particular portion is not in that, industrial overlay boundary, they're in agreement that when they submit the site plan, it will include the elevations and that higher, characteristic within that area.
Why not include it in the overlay boundary?
I mean, I guess I could if you wanted to extend it, but at the time it was on, C2. I've had it both ways. I mean, I could, add that boundary to extend over that way.
Said I don't trust them, but I mean, might be good to have it.
Okay, I mean, I could add it over,
Under overlay, I think,
I know I've had several different iterations of it, so it won't be that hard to extend it
Couldn't
over.
tell from the boundary, it almost looked like it caught the bottom part of that. Caught pretty good, it's hard to tell.
Like I said, I've had several different iterations of the map.
the one that we just passed on the initial overlay district.
So that
I think the one
purple,
that we
that purple is the innovation district with that black line is the boundary.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I can extend that black line, but,
If you want that done for the next meeting, we can always make that change.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
I can include that.
We can include
That'd
that
be
here,
good.
if they're gonna build to that standard anyway, so.
Yeah.
right.
The other thing I want you to point out too, because my excuse me, on page 106, when this was first submitted to us, it was gonna include the full parcel, but, that was not the intent of the owner. So they did split the parcel just last week, but we'd already sent this out to you, so we were able to get the boundary correct for you in the map, but on the actual subsequent of the writing on page 106, it says 37.09 acres, when that needs to be 21 acres, and Derek's already made the change for our meeting next month, so that'll be corrected for that reading.
And they'll have it recorded by deed, that separate parcel, 21-acre breakout to start for, and their team.
And that stays C2?
Yeah, that portion will stay.
Yeah, it's more set up for that. It's got smaller parcels that could be broken off, and they could put some retail or some restaurants or some other type of things in there, more mixed use.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Purchasing, to approve or reject the substantial electric bid of $166,750 of 2023 for the traffic signal UPS battery backup system project. The Public Service and Administrative Service Director recommends approval. Need a motion.
Motion approved.
Need a second.
Second.
Dave, now, talk to us.
So, the reason for this being brought up and brought to the attention of this board is that, during power outages, the traffic signals, all 13 intersections throughout the city, do lose power, and we're dependent on CEMC restoring power, to get the traffic signals back online and back functioning. What we would like to do is ask this board's permission to utilize this money to purchase and install these traffic signal cabinets that will mount to the existing cabinets, so that during a power outage, the intersections function just as they should, and there will be no traffic backups, there will be no danger in the intersections. We also, within this, are asking to have GFCIs mounted to the poles, or in the future maybe a different style illuminated sign or decorations or various different functions that could be utilized.
This is also one of the weakest parts in our electrical grid too, is it not?
That's my understanding of it, yes, sir.
We hadn't been about 3 weeks, we've had a problem. Big time,
Yeah.
So you responded quickly in 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, we attempted to. This is something that we felt was
We need
necessary.
that.
I believe this came out of a study session, did we not, Cliff? I think we asked for that, and we went
Here
and
at
looked.
the 76, when we had this little tornado go through and took the light out.
And so then I think
Yes, sir.
we didn't have enough funds, but we were able to buy one, and how did that work out for you? What intersection did you put that in?
It worked out phenomenally. I actually have some pictures of that I brought with me today, and that was actually on, it's at the 76 and 31 intersection. And that was on September 7th, we had a power outage, that shut down the 31W corridor, and we were actually able to visually see how the 76 and 31 intersection reacted to a power outage in a real life situation. And it functioned, and just beyond that, you saw the Portland Road and 31 intersection in the background of these pictures where it's dark. The intersection's dark, and when people approach these intersections, it's supposed to approach it as a four-way stop, but it is unnerving whenever you come to an intersection and it's dark. So it reacted well, and it's at 76 and 31 here.
And you had enough budgeted money for this?
Yes, that's correct. It actually came in under budget, as a matter of fact. And we had some CIP funds that were able to be used that purchased that. battery backup system that's installed at 76 and 31.
How many hours backup are you getting?
I would have to get back to you on that. I believe the number that was told to me is 20 hours, but I can check on that and
Way
get
more than
back
that.
to you on.
I mean, it's, and just the safety cost for somebody
Oh,
who have an accident right there is well worth it.
Mhm. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. To approve or reject the emergency agreement and purchase order with Rogers Group and the United Fire and Casualty Company to complete the McCurdy Stage Road Turn Lane project in the amount of $510,558.75. The city administrator recommends approval. Need a motion?
Motion approved.
Need a second? Second. Okay, discussion.
Yeah, this is obviously a project that we talked about with Charles DeWeese, that we already approved that project to be completed. And then, of course, they went bankrupt, and then, through Valerie's office, working with the attorneys for the casualty company, and, myself and our staff working with Rogers Group, we were able to get a bid in and be able to get this project started. You know, it's been in the news. I've had lots of complaints from neighbors that live in that area. As a matter of fact, I keep one person's number right there so I can call them and keep them updated every step of the way. So we just felt like I just had to get this going and get these contracts signed, one for the insurance carrier, one for the Rogers Group. So I went ahead and signed those off. So I'm asking now for the emergency purchase order to be approved by you all.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Other business, none. Discussions, items, none. Other information, none. Adjournment. We are adjourned.